asked, "Who is it?" Gabriel replied, "Gabriel, it was asked, who is accompany you?" Gabriel replied, "Muhammad." It was asked, "He has been called. Has he been called?" Gabriel replied in the affirmative. Then it was said, "He is welcomed. What an excellent visit his is." So when I went over the fifth heaven, there I saw Aaron, Harun. Gabriel said to me, "This is Aaron, pay your greetings." So I greeted him, and he returned the greetings to me, and said, "You are welcomed, O pious brother and pious prophet." Miraj Muhammad's encounter with Moses. Then Gabriel ascended with me to the sixth heaven, and asked for its gate to be opened. It was asked, "Who is it?" Gabriel replied, "Gabriel." It was asked, "Who is accompanying you?" Gabriel replied, "Muhammad." It was said, "Has he been called?" Gabriel replied in the affirmative. It was said, "He is welcomed. What an excellent visit his is." When I went over the sixth heaven, there I saw Moses. Gabriel said to me, "This is Moses, pay him your greetings." So I greeted him, and he returned the greetings to me, and said, "You are welcomed, O pious brother and pious prophet." When I left him, Moses, he wept. Someone asked him, "What makes you weep?" Moses said, "I weep because after me there has been sent a prophet, a young man whose followers will enter paradise in greater numbers than my followers." Muhammad's encounter with Ibrahim. Then Gabriel ascended with me to the seventh heaven, and asked for its gate to be opened. It was asked, "Who is it?" Gabriel replied, "Gabriel." It was asked, "Who is accompanying you?" Gabriel replied, "Muhammad." It was asked, "Has he been called?" Gabriel replied in the affirmative. Then it said, "He is welcomed. What an excellent visit his is." So when I went over the seventh heaven, there I saw Ibrahim. Gabriel said to me, "This is your father, pay your greetings to him." So I greeted him, and he returned the greetings to me, and said, "You are welcomed, O pious son and pious prophet." Then I was made to ascend to Sidratul Muntaha, the low tree of the utmost boundary. Behold, its fruits were like the jars of Hajar. A place near Medina. And its leaves were as big as the ears of elephants. Gabriel said, "This is the low tree of the utmost boundary. Behold, there ran 4 rivers, 2 were hidden, and 2 were visible." I asked, "What are these 2 kinds of rivers, O Gabriel?" He replied, "As for the hidden rivers, they are 2 rivers in paradise, and the visible rivers are the Nile and the Euphrates." Moses advises Muhammad to plead to Allah to lessen prayers. Then the sacred house was shown to me, and a container full of wine, and another full of milk, and a third full of honey were brought to me. I took the milk. Gabriel remarked, This is the Islamic religion, which you are and your followers are following. Then the prayers were enjoined on me. They were 50 prayers a day. When I returned, I passed by Moses, who asked me, "What have you been ordered to do?" I replied, "I have been ordered to offer 50 prayers a day." Moses said, "Your followers cannot bear 50 prayers a day, and by Allah, I have tested people before you, and I have tried my level best, and Bani Israel in vain. With Bani Israel in vain. Go back to your Lord and ask for reduction, to lessen your followers' burden." So I went back, and Allah reduced 10 prayers for me. Then again I came to Moses, but he repeated the same as he had said before. Then again I went back to Allah, and he reduced 10 more prayers. When I came to Moses, he said the same. I went back to Allah, and he ordered more to observe 10 prayers a day. Then I came back to Moses. He repeated the same advice. So I went back to Allah and was ordered to observe 5 prayers a day. When I came back to Moses, he said, "What have you been ordered?" I replied, "I have been ordered to observe 5 prayers a day." He said, "Your followers cannot bear 5 prayers a day. And no doubt I have got an experience of the people before you, and I have tried my level best with Bani Israel. So go back to your Lord and ask for reduction to lessen your followers' burden." I said, "I have requested so much of my Lord that I feel ashamed, but I am satisfied now and surrender to Allah's order." When I left, I heard a voice saying, "I have passed my order and have lessened the burden of my worshippers." Woman's earth, you people of Yathrib, Medina, submit to Islam. In this year, 12 men of Yathrib of one, 10 were of the Jewish tribe of Khazraj, and the other 2 of Aus, came to Mecca and took an oath of fidelity to the Prophet at Al-Aqaba, a hill on the north of that city. This oath was called the woman's oath, not that any woman were present at this time, but because a man was not thereby obliged to take up arms in defense of the Prophet or his religion. It being the same oath that was afterwards exacted of the woman. This oath was as follows: "We will not associate anything with Allah, we will not steal, nor commit adultery or fornication, nor kill our children, as the pagan Arabs used to do when they apprehended that they would not be able to maintain them, nor forge calumnies. We will obey the Prophet in everything that is reasonable, and we will be faithful to him in well and sorrow." When they had solemnly engaged to do all this, the Prophet sent one of his disciples, Musab, home with them to teach them the fundamental doctrines and ceremonies of the religion. Musab, having arrived at Yathrib by the existence of those who had been formerly converted, gained several new converts, particularly Usayd ibn Khudair, a chief of man of the city, and Sa'd, prince of the tribe of Aus. Islam spread so fast that there was a scarce a house that did not have some Muslims in it. The next year, being the 13th of the mission, AD 622, Musa returned from Yathrib, accompanied by 73 men and women of that city who had adopted Islam, besides others who were as yet unbelievers. On their arrival, these Yathrabites immediately sent to the Prophet and invited him to their city. The Prophet was not in great need of such assistance, for his opponents had by this time grown so powerful in Mecca that he could not stay there much longer without imminent danger. He therefore accepted their proposal and met them one night by appointment at Al-Aqaba, attended by his uncle Al-Abbas, who thought, though he, as not then a convert, wished his nephew well, made a speech to those of Yathrib, wherein he told them that as the Prophet Muhammad was obliged to quit his native city and seek shelter elsewhere, and they had offered him their protection, they would do well not to deceive him, and that if they were not firmly resolved to defend and not to betray him, they had better declare their minds and let him provide for his safety in some other manner. Upon their professing their sincerity, the Prophet swore to be faithful to them, on condition that they should worship none but Allah alone, but Allah observe the precepts of